I've got a slide for
What
each
do
of
you-
us. So basically,
Like be able to see it.
yeah. And then if you want me to turn,
Talk further in.
but
Or are we
but
talking-
you know, in all
We can
you know,
talk about
basically,
people in the audience.
Fly. This is Andy. This is Marla.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Then,
Is this good?
and then
Testing,
there's a
1, 2.
separate.
So I don't have to shout?
All stuff, and there's separate slides for you as far as
I should
what
project.
to do.
Project like this.
I'll be projecting
Okay.
without my mask too, so.
So we can look at
Okay.
15 minutes or so.
Okay, gotcha.
Awesome if they're
I'll
going to
just
be.
look at you in the back.
So,
Right.
but they're only 14.
All right, this one's for Dan.
Um,
Testing 1, 2, 3,
Because
4.
The modern
You stop
world,
at 3?
I don't
Oh
know.
no, bands
Yeah.
are like 1, 2,
Like,
3,
no, yeah,
4.
come see me in the
Testing
show.
1, 2,
Yes.
3.
Well, so you'll see.
Why the
So
difference?
my slides are very, very minimal. It's very
Yes.
much about
It's
like,
good.
pay attention. I am here. You want to know more? We got a website for that. You can go do that.
It's exactly
Anyways.
So we're at work, we are putting together a chat bar for each class. A
Wait,
chat
Tony
bar
Warren?
for
Oh.
each,
Yeah. Okay.
The other one?
so the partner knows
The
a
dad.
lot of things about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yes.
my river jack.
I like how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot
That-
of
that could-
professions that
Oh, a ton.
calling a partner.
Well, it's yeah. I'm gonna be curious to see when we get into a lot of that. 'Cause people really don't understand just how much their information is being disseminated.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Cooking.
Yes. Yes.
We tell Indeed more stuff than we would ever tell in
It's
Facebook.
cold.
Yeah.
but that's
Oh no.
okay.
But
Definitely.
Facebook and Indeed together, they know
The
everything.
mic's
Yeah.
hot.
Look,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought they were on.
Well, there.
All right. Awesome sauce. Everybody here? Good. Let's try to project
Can you hear us?
strength of voice. Okay.
Okay.
Awesome sauce. All right. I think we got.
303.
It is 303. We'll start. It goes about. So we're hoping to basically go through a brief kind of presentation, tell you a little about what we do and some of the alternatives, basically to just actually in a panel about psychotherapy. This is not that. This is everything other than. It's not that we're not promoting that. It's just there are alternatives. And so we're going to do that, and we'll have a kind of a presentation for. We're aiming for like half an hour at most because I'm sure you have questions, and we love giving answers, even if they're not true. So, we'll do that. But yeah, so non-religious, not alone. Who here has ever dealt with concerns about mental health, relationships, communication? If you're not raising your hand, you're a liar. So yes, all of us here, to some degree or another, are involved in mental health care. I'm using that word very broadly. So we will get into that, what that means here as we go. Hi. All right. So my name is David Teachout, and I am a therapist and coach. We'll go into what the difference is between those here shortly. But for me, a lot of it is how do you pay me for the services? And the QR code will actually get you to my business page and information. So feel free. You can contact me anytime. I've been in the field for about 20 years and have worked with everybody from the adults incarcerated, children in foster care, to the elderly and psych wards. So literally done interviews Hannibal Lecter style. That's a story for another time. So just been seeing a lot of changes over the last 20 years and very much love working with people. So, and that's how this kind of came together. So, Marla.
I'm Marla Dufek. I'm a life coach, which anybody gets to define however they want to, because we are very unregulated. And yeah, there's some people out there I would rather I didn't have to have the same job title as. But for me, I also love working with people and supporting people. My work involves coming from less of an expert stance and less of a, I don't get into the like diagnosis kind of thing, like a therapist can and will, more about helping you access your own resources to live your best life, which is the most exciting thing in the world to be on the other side of a conversation for. So that's what I do and why I live it.
And the QR code for that will go to Marla's website. So by all means, reach out. And then we've got Dr. Kalai.
Okay, I thought you were going
I-
Anyway, my name's Kalai. I teach Tennessee at TSU. I'm a professor. Academia has a little bitty mental health first aid kind of thing. So I'm trained in that. More so, I'm trained in something called co-counseling, reevaluation counseling. I'm not a counselor like a licensed counselor. I've done life coaching, but I use this methodology everywhere I go. How to listen. So I have a meetup group on Monday nights. Shout out to Derek. So he found me, and we talk about listening skills, how to shut up and listen, how to listen with your eyes, just little techniques that I use with my children, and how to process your own. I'm an EQ trainer, emotional quotient, emotional intelligence trainer. So I take this to academia mostly because that's where I am. And then I'm involved in this world, so I bring the same ideas around it. The time will come, I'll tell you what those very basic principles are. Perhaps we can utilize it with each other with some agreements. So, and Larry has come to some of my presentations as well. So it's good. It's good. Yeah, that's me.
Emotional.
Emotional intelligence, or
Right.
EQ, emotional quotient.
Mm-hmm.
There's BQ, body quotient. There's MQ, morality quotient. IQ doesn't do shit. It predicts whether you graduate college. That's about it. And that's why they use it. And then there is actually 12 types of intelligences.
Gottman or Goldman.
Goldman is the
Yeah,
EQ.
yeah, EQ,
Daniel
yeah.
Goldman kind of phrased that term. And I'll say it in one sentence, as simple as if you're aware of what you're feeling and you're able to label it, identify it, put your finger on it, you're less likely to act on it. So to be able to give each other space, so you can imagine my classroom, everybody gets a sheet of paper, but words that has emotions like angry. I don't have bad words, so you can add it, so students get to have it. But I've used that to every meeting. The first thing we do in the meeting, you sit down, everybody gets sheets of paper, and you go through what you're feeling. Don't explain, just say what you're feeling. And the temperature comes down. And I get to do like meetings in about half an hour. And they're like, how did you do this many things? Because I did that first. It's all that baggage, so to speak, is stated. Sometimes magical things happen. So when I have a headache, somebody will like, here's an Advil. Oh, I'm feeling really cold. Somebody will adjust the temperature. Magical things happen when somebody state just their feelings. Nothing, no explanation. Just, I am feeling so angry right now. To like what you're doing right now, we know how to do it. And I also stop me, okay? So I think it's intrinsically, because when we go to a funeral, we all know how to lower our voice. We all know how to not overhug, outcry the crying. Who told you that? Nobody did. We have learned this somehow. And when we talk to a child, we do switch code, right? Code switching. We'll go, hey. We match it. We know this intrinsically. How can we use it with each other? So it's the idea behind it, with each other. How can we listen? How can we be present? But counselors have a set of rules. I'll go ahead, run with it. You're going to stop me.
Yeah.
Okay. The rule is.
You're about to say probably, I think, what I'm about to say.
Okay. So we'll add on to this, right? The basic rules. One is, I'll listen, right? You're the talker, that's established. In this, the one I teach is we both take turns. All right. I listen, and I'll never bring it up, even to you. That's pretty intense. Even to you, I'm not going to bring it up. I might check in with you with my eyes, like, hey. Mm-hmm. That's the extent of it, right? And what else? Whatever you need to feel, I'm going to help you feel it. just sit with it to do it. In a classroom, you can imagine I take tissue papers, students panicking doing an exam. I'm like, who told you you're not smart? I am so sorry. You'll see just tears coming down. I'm like, here's a tissue paper. And then I'm also going to promise you, I'm not going to advise you. No advice, because I'm going to trust you're smart enough to know what to do. And you know what to do. And I'm creating a little space in your brain for you to process it.
I usually frame it of, I'm not going to give you advice because I don't want to take responsibility for your life. I barely want mine. So it's just like, this is the relationship is what is so important, which is why the auspices of that professionalism and insurance-based and the diagnostic-based notion here that says you've some kind of succumbed to a medical problem, which we at some level know is functionally different than if we've lost a limb. And yet it's often treated the same way when it shouldn't be. And these kinds of different techniques can be really helpful with it. And before we lose sight of this, hi, Andy.
Hello. I was just here to test the microphone. I don't know why I'm still, no. So yeah, for me, about 15 years ago, I started going to, I don't know how we want to define it, like secular groups or layperson-led groups or something like that, where support groups maybe in general, and somebody would kind of have some ideas they would work through. People would discuss them. People would voluntarily participate in some exercises. We maybe would talk about them afterwards. And doing that, I started to get more insight into what was going on inside me. And I kind of have this idea that I want to be a little less of a jerk today than I was yesterday. Like that's my life purpose. And I found that these kinds of support groups helped me accomplish that pretty reliably. So I continued going to them, even kind of started to go to 12-step meetings, which as a, whatever I am, atheist, agnostic, something like that, I was terrified in the beginning because I was pretty sure that they would say, wait a second, you don't look like you believe in a Christian God. That doesn't fly here, and show me the door. And it didn't happen. I've been going to a 12-step meeting for 11 years and get a lot of benefit out of that. I think maybe real broadly, I try to see what I can learn from everyone in my orbit. So I can kind of fold it into my experience and, all right, like maybe I could adjust this. So that's why I keep going to these things and get benefit out of them.
Sweet.
That's me.
So a few topics we're going to be very brief on. But, like I mentioned before, how to choose, between resources. What's the difference between coaching in therapy? As Marla noted, we both really wish we didn't share the same title as some people out there. If anybody went to Coleman's very fun expression, he mentioned a guy named J.P. Sears, who, wow, wacky. And that's polite. But he started off as a coach, and it's not regulated. There is an increasing number of training institutes that you can get certifications from, but that's it. And some of them actually are pretty decent.
Are you talking about coaching certifications?
Yeah, like coaching certifications, which you can.
Great ones.
There's some great
There's
ones.
some really great ones. And
Yeah.
There's some not.
And yes. And so it's starting to, there's starting to be ways of differentiating, going to somebody who's like, I just started talking to people, probably, okay, not. And, education is very helpful as well, but it's not a guarantee. A license, one of the reasons I'm on the vetting team for the Secular Therapy Project, I mean, logically speaking, one of the reasons why the Secular Therapy Project exists is because a license in therapy does not guarantee that you're going to do things ethically, and it certainly doesn't guarantee that you're going to do things that are based in any way, shape, or form on science. And the sheer number of practices that occur under the rubric of therapy, you or may or may not be shocked of what occurs. And nobody says anything about it because
Life coaching is worse.
yeah. Well, life coaching is worse in some ways. It's the margins, yeah, around things. So, like I mentioned, in a previous panel, we're humanists at some level, whether or not you aspire to that as a philosophy, whether or not it's just the fact that we're human. This is your journey. There should be no profession. I mean, when we go to a doctor, we typically are going to want a second opinion. And that's for medical science that has years of pretty decent research behind it. When it comes to the mind, things are a lot squishier. And I say that after way too much education and years of study. And it's by all means, figure out what it is you want out of this. What goals are you seeking to address? This person is at best, hopefully, an informed, educated helper, a tool in the good way of that term, to help facilitate your own personal growth. You should be seeking to leave at some point. Like the idea that therapy should last 20 years, that's not a therapist, that's a paid friend. And where are we talking here about success and, getting better and so on? So these are not things that should take that long. So how to choose who or what group to work with? Any principles?
I'd like to mention, just because therapy has a built-in, we all know how to go through our insurance company and find out who's got a license, and you can get your license taken away, and you can go to a state webpage, and life coaching doesn't have that. And so I agree with what you said about know what you want. Also, I think that another thing, especially, with any professional, is to make sure you get a chance to get to know them and that they're willing to get to know you and they're interested in a good match, because the connection between you and the professional is going to make the biggest difference. And if somebody's not interested in you finding the best match, only in will you pay me and can I be the person that you choose, that's a pretty big red flag. And I don't want to, this is just super important to me, so I think this is the right place to put it and I don't want to miss out. If you're looking for a life coach, there is some certification, there is some accreditation kind of stuff. It's only as good as the body's doing it. So don't, when you're choosing and you don't have the ability to, what college did they go to, what's their degree, don't trust a certification just because I said they have one. Look into what the certification means, because anybody can say they're certified, and anybody can say they're certifying people. But the International Coaching Federation is a pretty good place to go. You can get a definition of coaching there. You can see what kind of ethics we've all agreed to. And the standards are super high. Every once in a while I'll run across a coach who's like, oh, I don't want to be a member of ICF because I don't see the benefit. I'm like, because we need a professional organization. We need somebody to stand up for. There is a way to coach that really supports people, and there's a way to be a coach that's ethical and professional, and they've defined it. And every couple of years I have to sign up again and say, I agree to all these ethics and things. So I really encourage you, just if you could take nothing away from my part of this presentation, if you're looking for a coach, make sure they're ICF certified or something similar, which I don't think there's anything as, ICF is definitely the gold standard. So that would be, as far as, covering the difference between therapy and coaching, it's a little harder to know what to do with coaching. So that's why I wanted to share that bit.
Yep.
May I say something?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I wanted to put a plug in for Recovery from Religion. It's a fabulous group. They're in most towns. Somebody who agrees to play the host role, like a support group. And those who are leaving religion get to come. There's no conversion, they're here. The founder is here. So visit that table for that purposes. Even to the level before you seek for help. As students, they're not going to tell me everything, right? There are things that you go through. You're not going to tell somebody else, but it'll be easier to tell a co-person. But before that, we all know what this means, yeah? This is crazy. And my definition of crazy is there is a story running in your head, running really, really, really fast. And it's the only thing you talk about when I speak with you. We all know those people. I hope I'm not one of those people. But once you get that story and put it in a piece of paper, you write it, you become the narrator. The story is outside of you. You can adjust the story. You regain control of your prefrontal cortex, right? It's incredibly, incredibly, incredibly powerful. And then at some point, like, okay, I need extra minds on it. And then that's when coaching, in different places you go, you can ask. The one I practice is basically you can Google it, look it up, look them up. There's no money exchange. But you have to be both listener and client. So that's the hard part. So if you don't have attention, it's hard to do this. You got to be just as good a listener as you are a thinker about my liberty, whatever my liberty means. So it's a little more heady in that sense. If that's a place you can hold, this is the community out there. What you take a class for like $35, and then there's no more money after that. It's your long list of phone numbers you can call and exchange time.
I love that you talked about stories. Speaking for me, I made up a story before I started to explore support groups, and that was that nobody had my experience. Nobody grew up in an alcoholic home with a codependent mother, and like nobody had that experience. And so I avoided going to situations like that because I thought, why? Why would I go and share my story and people just stare at me blankly? And I have a good friend now who labels this terminal uniqueness. He's self-diagnosed with that. And I thought, yeah, me, exactly. So when I started going to these support groups and sharing my story, or at least whatever slice of it I felt comfortable and safe doing, I'd see some nods, or maybe at a break, somebody would say, what you shared resonated with me because I went through something similar when I was a kid. Oh, wow. Like I'm tearing up now just saying that. That's really healing to hear somebody like affirm that I'm not nuts or being gaslit or whatever. So I was able to shed that story over time by seeing that it was indeed just a story that I was making up. I was not terminally unique. There were lots of people out there. I just needed to go find them, have a safe environment where I could share that, listen to other people's shares, and start to see like, oh, I get it. We can heal. We can all work together as a community and heal our hurts and losses.
Let me add just a small piece. So veterans won't tell non-veterans stories. Policemen won't share their stories. Women, certain things will not share it with other men, understandably so, right? So in Montgomery, Alabama, we created a group where I presented the method. Stay with the method and tell each other's story. I don't need to know. I don't need to be the one listening. As long as the story comes out of you, life shifts. So if there is a group, and if you're thinking about you're in a place where like, look, I don't want men in it, I don't want, non-veterans in it, it can be set up and you can practice listening. Just listen. Ask permission before you hug afterwards, right? And I do it in my classrooms. Like, if you have a story you can't tell yet, write the story down. It's like 10 points. They'll change your grade, and they will do it. They will do it because like, oh, this is a valuable story because it's your story. I don't sit in
your class.
And when you write it, there's nobody stopping you, nobody telling you, no, that's not the way it happened, but this is the way it happened for you. You tell your story from your point of view.
Sounds a little like written exposure therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I want to add one more thing there then. So I think that what I'm seeing that we all have in common here that I think is a good takeaway for anybody is if you have a safe place where you can share your story, where you can find the strength, the safety to be fully vulnerable and authentic to the best of your ability at the time, and be seen and heard and held in that space. That's healing. And that's all any of us are doing. There's more trappings, there's different trappings, there's techniques, and there's things you can do, and different skills we can bring, but it's healing just to have a safe place to be seen and heard, and have your story seen and heard. And so if you don't have access to any of what we're offering, that's something you can all create for yourselves. Learn what safety means for you, and find a place and tell your story. I gathered some friends this past weekend and got to go deep on some stuff that's hard for me. And it was healing. And they aren't professionals. They were just able to listen.
I want to build on what you said, Marla, about there
Because
being
nobody wants to go back to dating.
where there are innumerable methodologies that we could stumble into or seek out or whatever. What I know I've done for myself is when something isn't working, trust my gut and move to something different. And I think my takeaway there is don't give up entirely. Like all right, well then none of this will work. And be a self-advocate. Like,
Oh my gosh, yes.
Because I know what's best for me. I was working with a therapist at one point who kind of denied trauma that I experienced. And I thought, oh, this is not the right therapist for me anymore. I need to find a different therapist. So I'm glad that I saw that. Not sure exactly how that happened, but I saw that wasn't the right approach for me at that time.
And yeah, I think trusting yourself with whenever you're trying to engage with getting support is so important. And you might not know what's right for you, but you know what's not right. And so learning to,
Listen to yourself.
listen to yourself, and then advocate for yourself, even if it just means walking out or not continuing, but that's, don't give your agency over to any of us ever, and if somebody wants that from you, tread
Question.
carefully. Yeah. Because your strength will come from somebody helping you rest in your strength more.
Sometimes professional is just another 4-letter word.
Yeah.
So it's,
Yeah.
yeah. And that actually brings up this concern. So, put this up there. Some of the research, I've done, if anybody knows Dr. Travis, he's over at the RFR booth. He actually has been the director of the Psychotherapy Project for a while. His PhD was in some of this research. But so non-religious, so particularly when overlapping with racial and sexual minorities, are at the highest rate for disengaging from mental health services. So the Venn diagram of these, like the more of the minority stuff, the intersectionalities start intersecting, the more it's like, wait a minute, what the hell's going on? And in one study, this is self-report. So anytime there's self-report, odds are, especially with this, probably lower than what it actually is. But 38% of therapists engage in unwanted or unhelpful religious discussion. And 29% of therapists explicitly suggested a religious intervention, despite their client being non-religious. Despite explicitly being told otherwise, the engagement happened anyway. In fact, by another study, over 70% of polled therapists believe that it is okay to bring up one's own personal religious beliefs, despite whether or not the client actually thought about it. Part of this is that within therapy, the research still, and I think largely because it's really sloppy, still promotes religion as a fundamental good. Now, I think what's really going on is what they're actually studying is the effects that community have, the effect of long-term relationships that are positive can have. It is not religion per se that is actually what's helping. It is various things that we can, create without that hanger on. So there's a reason why we're doing this and having this discussion. So speaking of mental health, I very much wanted to kind of offer a definition that wasn't based on the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, where you can take a very minute section of your life and, gee, now you've got a diagnosis. The DSM really is more of a labeling device. It is not really a diagnosing device. I'm not going to go on my hobby horse on that one. But it's about connecting you to services, which if you need to do that, great. Like you have insurance is there for a reason. There are a lot of things that come along for the road with that though. So being fully informed is a good idea. But here, mental health just refers emotional, psychological, societal well-being that together provide the capacity for flexibly responding to adverse life events, what otherwise sometimes will then go and increase the trauma through internal and external forms of behavior associated with resiliency. We're great apes, although I rather appreciate using the term monkeys because it's just funnier. But that's it. We're not special beings. We know this. We haven't been made in God's image. So we're still going to struggle. We're still going to have difficulty. Life's goal is not to have everything be hunky-dory. It's to be able to navigate that with a degree of emotional intelligence to be able to go, yeah, you know, that hurt. And here's the story that I've written that may or may not be fully accurate. In fact, quite often our brains make shit up, make God up. It's not going to stop there. And so finding those alternatives for community and connection is hugely helpful. Thoughts?
So definition of health in my class is PMS. Easy to remember, right? But it's physical, mental, and social. You have to have all three. If there's no balance in it, it gets weird. Mm-hmm. And then to be able to access what you're feeling. I think so. My presentation yesterday, Humanism 101, is a big being, a human being is being, right? The being is captured by feelings, emotions. If you have to access your emotions. You have to learn how to label them. You have to learn how to share them and share them with all the other labels we carry, like all the intersectionality of labels we have, male, whatever that we have, and there are emotions attached to it. My journey has been to be a humanist, is actually doing mental health work, where I didn't like the labels given to me because it felt so constricting. And I continue to work on it. To be a good therapist, you have to work on your own, right? Every counselor needs a counselor. So to own it, that we're all humans fumbling through and find meaning within it. When we lose that meaning, we get it from connections, but when we lose it and then life has no definition, then suicide looks very attractive. And we all look at it like, yeah, well, there's no reason to be anymore. There are millions of reasons to be around. Hope is always there. I'd rather die hoping, not giving up. Right? And like people say, well, there's nothing, absolutely right. I'm going to die hoping, not having it given up. If somebody says, what the fuck was he hopeful about? I live again. Right? So I'm going to die hoping. And anything that takes away my hope, I'm not even going to pay attention to it. So I'm not on Facebook. I'm not in a lot of places that takes my energy away. Like I'm not around certain people because they tamper and vex me. Like, nope, you're taking my hope away. I'm not going to be around. I'm done. So that's one way I frame it, and tools available. So
I like that you pointed to like feelings can kind of help us see what's going on. A model that resonated with me was that feelings can help me identify needs that I have that are being met or not met. And having, like in my experience, having a community around me that can kind of help pull that out of me gently lets me start working on getting those needs met that aren't being met or celebrating the ones that are being met, which I think helps me lead a happier, more exciting, productive, whatever life. And I may be able to do that on my own, unlikely. I think because some of those stories interfere with that connection to like, oh, I'm feeling this. It's probably because I'm not getting this need met. Having somebody, an outside observer, helping me identify that, I find really helpful.
Here's a catchy thought. No man is alone, right? No woman is alone. Even a couple doesn't do it. If you're stranded in an island, there's only two people, a male and a woman, that species will die. Think about it. No matter how many offsprings they make, that species will die. We need us. And when you say look at somebody else, we are a group creature, right? The ultimate punishment for a human is what?
Isolation.
Isolation. We do it to children, go to your room. And then, or put them in prison. The same, it is so painful. We know how painful it is. So if you catch yourself being there, fight. They say, walk your dog. Because you're out there somewhere and somebody's saying, so, hey, nice dog. Right? And if you are not a dog lover, somebody taught me how to do this to get conversation going. That's a beautiful dog. Because people who own dogs love their dogs. They'll talk about the dog.
And their dog is definitely beautiful.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
I grew up eating them. Just kidding. Joke. I know, joke. I've not written on signs that, dog missing, thanks for dinner. I've not done it. Sorry. You got too deep.
Goes back to the
Got
connection.
too deep. Please, Marla.
get us back on track.
Yes, Marla.
To talk about how important connection is.
Yes.
Sorry. But yeah, I'm so glad that you guys brought up connection. And I think to me, it's really interesting in a place like this because, and I think I can't wait for us to open it up to questions because I want to hear if anybody has any thoughts on this, if we leave enough time, that I keep realizing that there was a time when I was an atheist and I didn't know I needed connection. And then everything got better when I found my community. And I feel like that is probably something that would be great for us to address is the mental health of the atheists who don't understand they need connection because they probably have other mental health issues, because the lack of connection is so devastating to us. And and like when we're not pursuing connection, there's something that needs to be healed so that we can pursue connection because I think that's our natural state. And so probably most of us here, because we came here, aren't those people. But I think that's might be an atheist issue, an atheist mental health issue that I would love to just plant the seed.
I love that observation that that's our natural state. I mean, we're a social animal.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, so I'm reading a book called Selfless by Brian Lowry, Lowery. And one of the main points that I've encountered in previous works is this very notion of we literally do not have a sense of who we are as individuals outside of the social connections that we're bound to.
Right.
It's literally impossible to think of yourself without a relational paradigm connected to it. Even if it's to literally the chair you're sitting in, to the structure of the building we're in, the thoughts that get inspired by the fact that we walked through and drove into a forest, what that does, we literally incapable of thinking blankly. It doesn't work. Even when we're sleeping, the mind's making shit up. So we can't stop it. And so that relational thing, all the more powerful as to what relationships in all of their many forms and what you get out of it that you then have in your life. So being very specific.
And if that relationship is not supportive, you divorce them in your head. It might be a mother, it might be a dad. You still do your rituals with them, but in your mind, they cannot have the same place. And you want to look for those who actually lift you and use that. And you know who they are and you nurture it and make agreements with them. I'm going to dance with you. I want to dance with you. I promise I'll step on your feet. Please say ouch because I want to be close to you. Just like that, you make deliberate, intentional connections. Because we will die. Hitler tried it, right? Like, don't even touch the baby, just feed it. It shriveled up and died. ICUs, NICUs, you hold the baby will die. We need each other so much. We are so afraid on how to do it, how to figure that out, what's safe, what's appropriate. Just ask fucking permission. And they will tell you, other person's like, or they won't come around to you, like, yeah, that was nice, but bye. It's okay. It's okay. I'm the damn foreigner who's done really well because I asked permission to be close.
Some questions. We've been covering some of this. Secular resources for unique events. This QR code will actually get you to a YouTube conversation that was had with T. Rogers, who is one fabulous person. But she's developed the secular death care manual that is all about asking the questions and developing your strategy. It's free. On the video, it's an RFRX interview, but on the video, there's a link to her material. And what it is basically setting up, how do you want your body taken care of? What do you want at your funeral? And how to go about requesting that. Because I don't know about you, but I have family members that if I were to annoyingly go before them, they would probably, want to have some, a pastor or whatnot give the eulogy. No. So wanting to have your wishes made on that. So definitely T. Rogers, she's incredible.
David, I want to say, I mean, you're talking about wanting something as you approach death or once you've died. We get to do the same thing while we're alive.
Yes.
We get to ask for what we want.
Yeah, the specifics just change.
Yes, exactly. It's just a different part of the life continuum.
Yep, 100%.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No,
No, do it while you're healthy, not when you're sick and dying.
Yes.
Think about, we will all die. It is promise. We will all die, right? You can rush it, or it still come to you and me, right? And preparing, I'm a death doula, and I work at, I do wills and trusts, and my little bit of life coaching comes in there. And one of the few things I tell them is, presume you're going to die in about 6 months. What will you do to everything you have, things you care about, like books, that you care about, assign it. If you can give it away now, give it away now. And it does, I've noticed magical things happen to people who have actually done it. Something about that bicycle or the dog or the book. And death is, I'm a weird guy, so it's, yeah, you're going to die. When I come to the death doulas, when I'm invited, I'll say, yeah, you're about to die. And we're going to be okay. And say it loud and clear into your ears. I've done it to 9 people, and I can almost predict when they'll take the last breath. So, yep, you're dying. I will not cry and steal the show from you. We will be all right. You can go. It's magical. So think about death, like you said, while you're alive and well. Then it's easier to think about death. Then you're like,
Marla?
then it's hard.
This reminds me, I've done some workshops on dying well, and one of the exercises we have is meditation on death. And so real briefly, I invite the participants to get comfortable and imagine that like they know exactly with certainty when they're going to die. It's 10 years from now. What things do you want to do? Who do you want to see? Where do you want to go? That kind of stuff. All right. Now imagine the same thing. You have 1 year. So think about who do you want to visit? What trips do you, okay, 1 month. And as we go to 1 week and 1 hour and 1 minute and 1 second, the scope of what's available to us narrows, but it surfaces what's important in our lives. So can we grab that important thing today? Even if we don't know when that death date might come, can we benefit from that awareness today?
Rayman.
Marla?
Yeah.
It may seem like a non sequitur for us to suddenly talk about death, but I think the reason we wanted this on here was because as secular people, getting the mental health support you need around death is something you might have to pursue, and there's a lot of great resources, and it's important, and your life will be better for it. Your life today, right, for it. I'm also concerned we're not going to, the life coach in me wants you guys to talk.
Yes.
And I want to hear questions. So I'm getting a little concerned about the time.
We
Yeah.
have 5 minutes, we're good. So this is just the class I'll own it. I developed that has to do with deconstructing, that is less about dogma and more about active principles that you bring into your life. Because again, you're the one that has always been making this stuff up. God never existed, so you don't really actually have to get over his death. It never was. So that will lead you there. So yeah. So
So-
thank you. By all means, seek
Yes.
any of us out. We
Yes.
will be happy to talk about this stuff.